Hey everybody, welcome back to another live stream. So today we're going to look at the markets, we'll watch the news, see what's going on, but we've got Bitcoin pumping, we've got Phantom up almost 9%, guys. Absolutely crazy. Phantom 9%, we're going to take a look at that. I'm also going to post a market update video for those of you who aren't able to sit on this live stream for the whole time. Make sure you go watch that at the very least later on. But for those of you who are able to jump on and watch, make sure you hit the like button on the way in. And let's take a look at what's going on in the charts. Let's start off with the charts. And what we'll do, we'll switch over to the charts. And as you can see, guys, here on the charts, you can see a big day here for Phantom. If we switch over to the hourly, you can see a really nice move here. As we were expecting, we had a breakout from trend here. We're expecting a retest at the trend line. Now, it managed to rotate a little bit earlier, which is impressive. And you can see a similar pattern here on Bitcoin. A good move up, 9.15%. Now, hopefully this can continue to move to the upside. Again, I wouldn't be surprised to get a little retest back at 40. That's perfectly healthy if we can get that retest back down to the downside before heading higher. So yeah, looking pretty good there. Hit up the like button. Yep, Luna, we'll take a look at Luna as well. Make sure you head in. We've got Luna up 16%. We will look at the Luna charts and make sure you hit the like button. We will get to Luna. Farsad, hey, how you doing? Thanks for jumping in. Also, let's see what is being said on some of the news channels. Let's see if we can get some news channels up.
I think that while we're seeing the Russian movement stall up north, they have moved up from Crimea and appear to be having more motion. Unclear if that's permanent progress. Anderson?
Nick Payton-Walsh will continue to check in with you throughout the hours ahead. Worldwide condemnation for Russia and support for Ukraine is growing. That is next.
Zoe Frazo here.
The power of social investing.
If you want to go to breaks at the same time, great stuff. Let's go back into the charts then. And what we'll do is we'll take a look at Luna mooning, and then we'll come back to the news to see if they've got anything for us to update on. So Luna, let's pull up the Luna chart. Absolutely crazy. And for those of you who don't know, like, Luna is in favor right now. During this volatility period, let's head over to the daily chart. People are flocking across to algorithmically backed stablecoins such as USDT. And whenever USDT is produced, don't forget, Luna gets burnt. So you get this crazy supply shock. We've been monitoring this for a long time, guys. And you can see, I had, my predictions were this is easily going to run up to 100. Even our Fibonacci levels were telling us first at 76. We hit that target. I then had a revised 87. Then we run up to 100. Yes, we got a retracing off. This will historically be a buying opportunity. Again, on the 200-day moving average. Perfect dip buy, guys. How many times have I said that? Non-financial advice. These are the levels you want to be buying the dip at. Okay, really, really important that we learn to be able to do that. That's going to stand us in good stead. Let's switch over to see what they're saying over here.
0.5% in February. So that's on pace for its best month since May. But just last Thursday, like Kelly mentioned, you had gold hitting a 52-week high. And that's driven, of course, by the Russia-Ukraine tensions. After learning several Russian banks have been removed from the world's main primary cross-border payments network, SWIFT, the Bank of Russia announced that today it would start buying gold again after an almost 2-year pause. So how big is that gold war chest? Well, Russia's actually the 5th largest sovereign gold owner, representing roughly about 22% of world reserves.
And so to spoil the fun of my video, which I'm literally uploading as we speak, why is Bitcoin pumping, right? Why are we up 9%? Well, we've seen there's been more sanctions by the US on Russia. So we've had a huge amount of sanctions coming in, which has restricted you from being able to work with their central bank, send any money or receive any money to central bank. And we've obviously seen a bunch of talk about SWIFT being suspended as well. So we wonder whether we're going to get an update on that. But in essence, now it's becoming very difficult. What the sanctions want to do is stop you from doing business with Russia. And if you're Russian, stop you from moving your money around the globe, right? We've seen a bunch of sanctions around flights as well, right? The EU have said no more Russian planes in EU airspace. So this is all about restricting movement, putting the pressure on successful Russian people to then lobby their government to change and stop this forward move, right? That's what they want to stop. So that's what we're seeing here. Let's see what she's saying.
In February, compared to a decrease of almost 4% for the S&P 500, Kelly.
Well, if anything, you'd think with all this buying that gold would be even higher. But it sounds like this is it's a big market. This is still a relatively small effort for Russia to try to diversify.
Hey Ian, what's up? Good to see you here. Danny Reyes, how's it going?
More funds, so to speak.
Precisely. So who are those buyers going to be?
Yeah, the lag is from the channel I'm getting the news from. I'm going to figure this out a little bit better over the next few days, so bear with me.
And that over the next course of a little while.
Yeah, UST, Kelvin.
Though we have
not
to
USDT.
That's pretty much the back burner.
Yeah.
Oh, that, right? The increase in interest rates. So if you got in, maybe a month ago, you're probably happy. Now, I don't know. According to a few notes, it's not as bullish as
with products that bring.
Yeah, that's not true. But yes, I know they denied. But no, there's been a number of countries, including the UK and Australia, who have taken in some more than others, Afghan refugees, and I applaud that. But there's been a certain number of Afghan senior government officials in the former Ashraf Ghani regime with serious allegations against them. Serious allegations.
Okay, so let's go back into the Luna chart, and I'll finish off what I was saying about Luna, because interestingly, this is what's happening on Luna. You can see the big move to the upside. You can actually see my drawing from before, my little arrow with our Fibonacci levels. I'm fully expecting a 140 Luna at the 1.618 mark as just, part of the journey. I fully expect us to break for 100 and then work our way back up. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be as straight up as this line is, but fully expect us to work our way back to 87. Maybe get a retest, go for 100, again a retest, and start building our way back to 140. An amazing project, Luna, one we've been tracking for a long time, one we continue to buy on pullbacks and is a key staple of our portfolio. So yeah, when it's running on days like this, it's nice, but every coin has its pullback. Please don't have green candle disease. Don't be chasing this right now. Coty is interestingly moving up 14% today as well, guys, which is very interesting. Just a good day for altcoins. And, this is the kind of day where you just end up building conviction in your plays, right? You end up understanding that, hang on a second, when the market's good, my projects are good, the ones I've picked. And if your coins aren't up today, also a warning, if your coins aren't up today, then we have to be wondering what coins are those in your portfolio and should we be having those? That's the reality. Because if they can't move when Bitcoin's up 9-10%, an altcoin with lower market cap, a little bit of a red flag for us, right? If that's what we're seeing. So let's see if our news friends are back. Give us something interesting.
Your loved ones. I want to get your reaction to these protests we're seeing in Russia and people really putting their lives on the line here.
I think this is really incredible, and really what we're witnessing are acts of individual civil courage. Protesting in Russia is a dangerous thing. People are facing real prison terms, they're being beaten, and still they're coming to the streets. What we must also understand that this protest only yesterday, I believe 2,000 people were detained, which means that the number of protesters are larger in reality, but there's
things that's been very clear for years in Afghanistan has been the role of particularly US and UK embassies in Kabul. Australia obviously had a much smaller role. We're a much smaller country there was a military presence in Afghanistan, but obviously compared to the US and UK, much smaller.
Smaller economically.
So exactly, yes. Yes, exactly. No, basically what my source said to me, and I've heard it in other examples too, is that often the embassies of US and UK particularly were strong-arming the Afghan government on a range of mining contracts because they wanted companies.
Okay, nothing here. Let's switch on over. The news is having a dry patch right now. Right, let's head back into here. And what I want to do is I want to take a look at Coty, because an interesting 14% day today. Let's take a quick look at Coty. Let's switch over to the hourly. Yeah, nice move. And again, similar to the move we're seeing in all altcoins. The pattern's very similar. Nothing out of the ordinary. The percentage is a little bit higher, but we've got to understand Coty did bleed quite a lot to the downside. So yes, it's at 14%, but that's not. In my opinion, that's not as impressive as the 16% on Luna, because Luna's a far bigger market cap and moving, and also Coty's not out of its trend line. It's still beneath its trend line here, this white one. So Coty's got some work to do. It's just collecting support here from 20 cents, but it needs to get some work. If you guys have any coins you want me to look at while I'm here on live, drop that in the comments. If you have any questions, let me know. If you're unsure about how certain things could be affecting the market, macroeconomic, interest rates, whatever questions you have, put them in the chat. So also the other things to look at are obviously what are the key kind of levels here for Bitcoin. We know we need to, obviously, we've had a good breakthrough 40,000, which is good. We're now sitting at 41. We need to hold 40, right? Like, obviously, before we look ahead, let's collect our support. Always keep the floor firmly beneath you. Let's go to the 4 hourly, just see if we can get a bit of a clear view. There you go. So this run up takes you to the top of the wedge, which is really good. We get to the top of our wedge pattern. But you can see that's exactly, literally at the top of the wedge here. You see that? That's where the wick started on this 4 hourly candle, because we know that that's a fighting ground for the bears. So the bears will be pushing it down here. You've got to push through this. Got to push through 41,659. It's going to be a difficult level. That's where you can see there's a bunch of build up in this region here. So we need to clear that level. And then we can start working our way to the important point, which is going to be this rejection point. If you guys remember, if you're watching my videos daily, 45,500 is that key level which we need to break through. That's where we got rejected initially once the CPI data came out and once escalation started. And then that entered our spiral all the way down to 34,300. So we got a good move to the upside here, but we need to continue to push on here. And it's going to depend on the macroeconomic elements, right? If we head over, you can see the wider markets. Let's take a quick look here at what the wider markets are saying. You can see the US has had a bit of a up and down day. It's been a bit of a roller coaster here in the US. It opened up red, and then we saw that it then started running green, and then it's fallen back again. In fact, let's see if we can pull up the chart. It's the benefit of doing a live. Let's see if we can pull up a SPY chart and actually see what patterns we're finding here. Yep, there you go. So you can see this is kind of what we've seen. So if we go across to the hourly, and there you go. So you kind of gap down, rally up, and then here in this hourly candle, we kind of got spooked again and fallen to the downside. So yeah, interesting day on the S&P, but overall not too bad. I mean, obviously we knew over the weekend we're expecting a bit of uncertainty because of the increased tensions, right? We heard that Putin has put everything on high alert, which may come with a threat of nuclear as well. So obviously the market's going to be a little bit spooked by that. Don't forget, guys, on the 10th of March, we're going to be hearing our February CPI reading. Really important that we're able to digest that. And that figure is really going to be important because that's the last piece of data that the FOMC received before making their decision 6 days later on March the 16th around whether they're going to increase interest rates, which we assume they are going to, and by how much, right? So by how much are they going to increase interest rates? That's going to be an important factor as well. So we do need to keep an eye on that. And see how that plays out. I'm personally expecting a 0.25% increase. Anything more than that, 0.5 would probably be a rug pull. We'll probably see markets fall and Bitcoin fall. If we see 0.25, I think we'll get a good rally. We'll get a decent rally. And I'm going to put this out there as well. We could also get no interest rate hike. I think that's very unlikely. But given what's going on, if we see any escalations, there's still time left. There's 16, 17, 18 days. This kind of conflict can, and I obviously don't want it to, but this could get worse, right? It could get worse before it gets better. And that could maybe leave the Fed to say, hang on, maybe we won't actually increase interest rates. So definitely something to keep an eye out on. Hbar. Ian's asking, can we look at Hbar? We sure can. So just so you guys know, I do hold a bit of Hbar. Let's use Binance chart. Let's pull it up. So from a technical perspective, nothing to write home about. Similar to every single altcoin right now, in a downward trend from all-time highs. And we're waiting. You could easily draw that trend line straight across down there and wait for the break of trend to see where we're heading to on Phantom. So, I mean, if you very, very crudely wanted to just chuck that onto there, and you can probably extend that to the top there. You can see we've not quite got our break of trend here. So you'd want to see this retest boom, off on Hbar. As a kind of portfolio hold, I don't think it's a bad hold. It kind of is a hedge against all the other types of plays, right? Obviously, with it being a hash graph, with it being more of a centralized play, given their governing council and Google and the rest of it, Microsoft, I believe, is on there. It's a bit of a hedge, so it's an anti-blockchain, your standard blockchain crypto decentralized play. So it could have a kind of small position in your portfolio. It's low cap, in case that's what wins the battle, right? In case this is the kind of play that wins. Will this war impact the Fed's interest rate hike schedule? Yes, Ian. So yeah, that's what I was just speaking about a minute ago. Absolutely. I mean, I think that's definitely. So when the escalation started, before that, if you're watching the channel, where I know you do, Ian, we saw that the market was pricing in. And remember, I used the Fed rate monitor tool for this. I'm going to need to refresh this, but while that's refreshing, we use the Fed rate monitor tool to see how much is priced in, and the market had priced in, if you remember, about 2/3 were pricing in 0.5 to 0.75. Now look how that's changed since the conflict. That's now drastically changed to 90% believing we're going to see a 0.25% rate hike. Okay, so the majority of the market is now priced in. That's why the markets have held up pretty well, that we're only going to see one simple rate hike of 0.25%. I think that's the most likely situation, and that's purely because of the war and the conflict. Now, fully, the kind of surprise element, which could really create a massive rally, is if you were to just get no rate hike, right? If things got that bad that the Fed looked at CPI and made the decision that, given what was going on, given the uncertainty in the market, we don't want to spook the market. It's been a delicate last year, given Omicron, given various other things. We've just kind of seen some green shoots. Maybe they hold off and don't increase interest rates, right? That's something that not many people are talking about. I don't think that's going to happen, but as investors, it's our jobs to prepare for all of those. And in that case, we'd see a really strong rally if that was to happen in Bitcoin and all altcoins, and obviously the wider market. Hope that answers the question, Ian. How about ADA still looking weak? Let's take a look at ADA, and let's move on over. And you can see ADA's up 8%. So this, it looks weak because of how much it's got battered. We're still out of trend. So you can see there's a bunch of altcoins where you're above trend, right? Like, let's pull up Luna. And you can easily see here on the daily where this is your downward trend from your all-time highs. If you were to draw this on all your favorite altcoins, you'll see where the clear breaker trend is. So this is your extreme. This is amazing from Luna, really big, strong, working its way back up. And then you've got a whole bunch of other ones, right? So if we look at Phantom, you can see we're trying to get the retest. So we've got the break of trend on Phantom and we're going for the retest. Let's see if I can zoom in to show that easier. Okay, so you guys can see that. Broke out. Looking for the retest currently, getting a good green candle today. And then you've got something like ADA. And ADA is still below trend, as is Coty. It's not broken out from the white line. So this is definitely something for us to keep an eye out. It's got some work to do, but the good news is it is moving. It's moving at the rate Bitcoin's moving, roughly thereabouts. It's not a massive laggard. I'm looking at Algorand specifically today and seeing it move 5%. And those are the ones where you start to get a little bit worried. And I personally hold Algorand. You guys know that. I'll continue to hold because I want to give this new CEO, Stacey Warden, a chance to see if she can really start creating a marketing element and really start driving some action, because that's what we want to see here on Algorand. Can she get people knowing about the technology? Because they're sitting on amazing technology. It's an amazing blockchain. And they've been around for a long time. They've got great tech. They've got great stuff going on. They just got to push it out into the wider atmosphere. Any other questions? Yemi's asking my thoughts on Immutable X. I think look, it's fine. There's nothing wrong with Immutable X. I just think there's so many bargains right now that if I was any of you guys, and not financial advice, I would solely be focusing on large caps. There's so many bargains right now. Anybody focusing on these really small hidden gems, do that, but please make sure it's a small part of your portfolio. Like, for the majority of your portfolio, if it's a significant size, please, not financial advice, but please make sure that you're focused on these high market cap plays, right? They're so super undervalued, and your risk, your alpha is very skewed in your favor. Okay, now yes, you can go find yourself a 100x coin, which is fine, but do so with a small part of your portfolio. Really important. And same with your bandwidth of your time you're spending researching them, right? You should be researching these bigger projects, these long-term plays. And again, I posted a video about that, guys. It's called The One Rule. Go watch that video. Really important. I think you'll benefit from that. War can affect on BTC price dumping. I think, look, Darwish, this is the tricky question, right? So Bitcoin currently by many people is being considered as a risk on assets. We've covered that on this channel extensively. I talk about it pretty much in every other video, and we were one of the first to pick that up, right? And then since mainstream news and various influencers have started noticing that, but we saw it was correlated, and we saw that there was a bunch of investors who, when risk appetite was on, they'd flock to Bitcoin for some alpha, just for returns, just for speculation. They didn't believe in the long-term thesis of it, and therefore when the markets were down or when there was any negative talk, Bitcoin would sell off. And we saw that happening, and it continues to happen now. If there was an escalation in the crisis, we'll see Bitcoin start to fall to the downside. But interestingly, and if you watch my video, which is literally going to post now, I'm going to push that live now actually, then you will see that that narrative can start to change. Because what can start to happen is you end up getting people who are investing in Bitcoin for some of the wider narrative elements. And, I give the example in the video I'm about to post, make sure you watch it, of Ukraine, of Canada, of Russia, of various people, first world countries using crypto and understanding now the value of why we need it. Ukraine are asking for donations in crypto. Russian ruble has flocked to crypto at the fastest rate for 9 months. Right? So we're seeing a lot of these trends emerging, and that is just evidence to say that, hang on, maybe these types of conflicts and war are proving themselves as a bit of a blessing in disguise. So what I'm going to do now is I'm literally going to post the video. Let's put it as live. Go smash up the video. Go smash up the likes on this video as well, guys. This is the Bitcoin video, what's happening in the market today. So go smash up the like. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on Twitter as well. Whilst I do that, do smash up the likes. Guys, we've got 17 of you. Please hit the likes. We've got 14 likes. That, if I'm good at maths, that means 3 people, who may have disappeared already actually, did not hit the like button. So, yeah, no old man for you guys. We should have a thing where if you give a super chat, you can get me to say old man. Do you think I'll get a sore throat? Right, let's post this on Twitter and the Discord, and then I will go to the chat to see if you guys have any of the coins you want me to look at. I mean, the news was a bit boring, so there's no point switching to the news. I was going to see if there's some interesting news to kind of see what's going on, but it seems like they're trying the route of diplomacy, but which is a good step, but it doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. I think the tensions are still quite heightened. I think diplomacy, this sounds horrible, but just from a war point of view, diplomacy, yeah, that worked. Thank you for 21 likes, guys. You legends. Oh man, hit the likes, people. Yeah, hit the likes. Russia has restricted their citizens from sending money abroad. Yeah, and that's AD Mayet. That's exactly it, right? Like, regardless of what side of the war you're on or conflict, the reality is both sides are flocking to crypto. You've got Ukrainians who are running to ATM machines trying to withdraw cash, and there's been 1 trillion in money withdrawn from the Ukrainian bank system. That's going to take its toll on any banking system. You've also got, like I said, Ukraine raising donations through crypto, which is very interesting. Can you have imagined, a few years ago, governments asking for donations via crypto? I mean, it just proves the use cases. It's crazy. Costel, stop counting the likes and concentrate on the subject. Okay, widow. And then you just striked me with that, so clearly I can't concentrate with stupid comments. And then you've got on the other side the Russians, which is the Russians are saying, hang on a second, if we're being sanctioned the hell out of by all these countries, and I'm just a normal Russian who's kind of against the war, protesting against the war maybe, and the things are going on outside of my control, then I still need a way to feed my family. I need a way to send remittances or carry on my business or export my goods. And maybe Bitcoin is the solution for that, right? And they're going to explore that. And more people are going to sign up to addresses and wallets and try Bitcoin out. And that's, even though the conflict is horrible, that's showing use cases for crypto. Darwish, do you think, and according to your TA, BTC already done its bottom? The TA is looking good. So the TA direction is looking good on Bitcoin. And the reason for that is we're creating higher lows. So if I head over to the daily chart and I zoom out here on Bitcoin, there's a few things that I'm looking at. And the initial point was obviously the 29. So you remember this 29 back here in the summer of 2021? That was that point there. Then we managed to rotate at 32, which was really good. Then we had this pivot point at about 36, and this massive candle which took us to 34-ish, but we didn't have to go back lower than 32. So we're actually slowly creating higher lows, but very slowly, right? I'd call it sideways in essence. So you know, this is a good trend. I mean, calling the bottom, you can't say calling the bottom. Anybody who tells you they can time the bottom is just chatting rubbish. Like, that's not how it works. I mean, if the conflict goes crazy and whole of NATO is going on, we've got World War III in our hands, of course we're not at the bottom. You may see a 20k Bitcoin, but with every situation comes the opportunity, and it's our job to spot those opportunities and play tactics according to what's going on. That's what we have to do as investors, right? Right now, you got Bitcoin pumping at 41,000 when a couple of days ago you had it, less, right? So are you buying now when we're up 9%, or did you have the patience and the wherewithal to dollar cost average at 34? I mean, these are the small decisions that ultimately create you the wealth over the long run. Revenue Ram, good to see you. Danny Reyes, the likes get the YouTube algorithm going. Yes, absolutely. Danny, that's the reality. Like, we can sit here, the 15 of us, and talk, and it don't make a difference to me because I'm learning this stuff and I understand how to play my investments, and it doesn't make a difference to me. But for the people out there who are new to crypto, and the new people born in crypto every single day, I remember when I started searching crypto stuff on YouTube, the amount of moon boys, it's unbelievable. Like, they can't, I mean, you guys be honest. You guys, I know you don't just watch this channel, you'll watch some of the big channels as well. How many of them actually know and can piece together what's going on in the macroeconomy? Like, if you picked one of them up, how many of them? I can count on half of one hand the good channels that actually cover off the right topics and can explain in detail what's going on. And most times, the channels I'm thinking of in my head are not just one person doing that. That's a team of people doing that can bring technical and can bring the fundamentals. And those are the channels, you should be watching, where you're getting a blend of information of technicals and fundamentals when they can marry them together. And the YouTube algorithm, naturally, by the way it works, is obviously going to be promoting channels with a bunch of clickbait, the ones who do good thumbnails, which is why we have to do that as well. Because none of you guys would have found this video if I didn't put an element of that in the thumbnail and title. But hopefully once you watch the content and see that I'm bringing substance, that you can look over those. And the types of channels which are just throwing you technical analysis without showing you fundamentals is really, really dangerous. And I know this firsthand from friends and people I know who have followed these channels and trade when these channels tell them to trade with huge amounts, like their life savings, which is stupid in itself. But that's the wrong way to go, guys, especially on leverage. And that's why, look, I may be boring, I may tell you not to trade with leverage, I may tell you to have a balanced portfolio, and you guys want me to look at some poo coins right now, but I'm not going to do that because it's not right for you. Maybe I'll get more views if I put that in the title and say this coin is going to 1000x, but it's not real by what's right. So if you appreciate that, hit the likes. If not, then please do go find some of those channels, because there's plenty of those around and you can get what you're looking for, right? Anyway, what else do we have here? They may hammer crypto because it helps Russians get around sanctions. That's going to pee them off. Yeah, Ian, so the thing is, like I just explained, right now, crypto is being used by both sides. Ukraine's getting funded in crypto. I believe they've raised like 1.6, I can't remember the number, but they're sitting on a lot of Bitcoin. They've raised a bunch of money. Citizens are using it. So if you start leveraging it, if the globe starts regulating it, then it's going to be a double-edged sword, right? If you're regulating it for one side, not the other, it's going to be painful. So there's only so much they can do, as we saw with the Canadian issue. They tried to whitelist a bunch of addresses and it didn't work. Thank you, everybody, for jumping in. Do hit the like button on your way in. Any questions you have, throw them in the chat. We were supposed to do a news session, but the news was dead. It was boring. They weren't covering anything new off, nothing that you guys haven't seen already. So we're just doing some questions, going through the charts. Would it be a bad time to top up Phantom? Joel Lai. So Phantom video uploading very shortly. I share the exact levels, guys. But for this live stream, because you're here and because you asked a question, I cannot refuse an answer. So for Phantom, look, I mean, as a rule of thumb, under the 200-day moving average, I like looking back in a year's time when we're hitting all-time highs, Bitcoin's running at 70, 80,000, which we know it will when things are calmer, you're not going to have a more stressful time than world wars, right? This war can escalate, I understand that, but eventually there'll be a time of peace, right? We've seen that. Anybody who can look at the cycles of wars and peace and wars and peace, human nature is the same. You have a time of prosperity, then you have a time of war, then you have a time of prosperity. So if you're investing now in a time of war, historically, you would have done really, really well, right? Because obviously in times of peace, everybody's investing, things are going up. And so looking at your Phantom now, sitting at $1.70, it's going to end up being a good buy. But what I don't like, Joel, is if you're, and I'm not saying you are, just saying it as advice for the community, is if you're pumping because of the green candle we're seeing today, right? Because my question was, where was your buy yesterday? Because the low point yesterday was 156. And these moments make a difference. And then I'd say, what happened 2 days ago at 130? And if your answer to me was, I dollar cost averaged on all 3 of those days or a couple of times this week, then I'm like, okay, you got it, Joel. That's the way we need to do it, right? So a bit about managing psychology. In the long run, if you were to buy a little bit now, nibble at 170, you're good, right? We're still just breaking out a trend. We got the retest, and we're looking for a move back to all-time highs. So obviously, now's a good time to enter, but I wouldn't be diving in because there could be more downside. The war can escalate and things can go down. So again, if you're entering now, be prepared for more downside. And the local downsides we have are 147, 126. You got to be comfortable at these levels holding your coins. And if you're not, then you need to question if you have enough conviction. Hope that answers the question, Joe. Darwish, do you have any gem list to buy in the coming dips? For me, I'm so focused on these big projects right now, guys. Like literally, you can see them on the screen. For me, it's these obvious market cap coins, which are just hugely undervalued. First of all, Bitcoin. I just wish I can keep buying more and more Bitcoin. Then you even look at ETH. You got to remember, this ran up to 4,000, right? Then you're looking at Atom, ADA, Phantom, Solana, Algorand, Luna. These are all top projects. And if, these are the ones I want to add to. They won't, necessarily 100, 200x like some meme coin you might find or another small cap gaming coin or something else, which I get. But these are the staples which, risk to reward. They're very low risk. They've proven themselves before and the reward is still immense. So... what was he using for analysis? Amitesh, what are you asking? What website is he using for analysis? Are you talking about this one? This is TradingView. Links in the description. Check out TradingView. The best charting package. I mean, everybody uses them. Costel, just Invest Answers. Yeah, he's great. Invest Answers, good channel. Good channel. I think you can't go wrong in terms of some of his fundamental analysis. What I like about him is at least he does the fundamental work. He can build the models like I can. He's not scared of an Excel spreadsheet. And he tries to think from first principles. Do I agree with everything he says? No. I mean, the way he lambasts Ada is it's hilarious, right? But he's a human, right? He's going to have his pros and cons. He's going to have his coins he likes and dislikes. But anytime somebody is bashing a coin, which isn't an all-out meme coin or, a scam, I'm always suspicious. And Ada is clearly not a scam. It's clearly a great project and it's been there, seen it, done it. They're making progress. Anybody who's slamming it that badly, as if it was a scam almost, has me a bit, it's just weird. Like if I don't like a coin, I don't have to tell everybody not to buy that coin. You see what I mean? AD may agree with you. There's a lot of these YouTubers calling these ridiculous 100x, etc. is dangerous for lots of people who have lots of tons of money, especially when they don't have any TA experience. Agreed. Could this be a fake out regarding BTC? Rich, yeah, my view, and again, watch my Bitcoin video I've just posted, it could easily be a bunch of false starts in this market. I'm fully expecting there to be a bunch of false starts. And in that type of environment, you've got to be careful trying to time the bottom. Remember what I said, there's a lot of people out there in the market who are trying to time this bottom. They're waiting for this free run because we know once Bitcoin gets out of this mess, it's a free run all the way up to 69, right? Because that's proven ground and then whatever to thereafter. So a lot of people are trying to time that in, but because of that, it's very easy for shorts and the market makers to trigger liquidations to the downside, long liquidations. So really important. We're going to get a bunch of false starts. There's going to be a lot of, little run up and then back down, a little run up, then back down, liquid, because it's just because so many people are leveraged. So many people leverage, and that's what causes the market to move so aggressively on crypto, which is why it's so volatile. But then maybe that's why we love it too. So be careful. FOMC meeting coming up. You got CPI data 10th of March, FOMC meeting 16th March. It's going to be volatile until then, for sure. Okay, what else have we got? Any other questions? What's a good... one sec. BTC should be 1 wick toward 25k for some minutes and failed due to war news. I'm not understanding that one, Dawish. Yemi, what's a good entry in Avalanche? Let's take a look at Avalanche. So again, using my rule of thumb, guys, Avalanche, we're on trend. We're at support here. So we're on trend here. We've got a retest of this trend line. If I was just to extend it out, being a bit lazy. We're on a support line and we're not far from our 200 moving average. So historically, again, these points are going to prove well to the upside. For me, Avalanche is my price target for Avalanche is 206. And this is why I'm so excited, because I'm looking at projects like this, which risk to reward are super low. Like, these are great projects. Total value locked, great projects, fundamentals are there, they've got good marketing, people know about them, they've been around in bull and bear markets. Why am I going to go mess around with some sort of meme coin? Like, if it's a bull market and I'm finding it hard to find, alpha and percentage returns, then maybe, but not right now. I think it's 10th of March, AD Maya, if I'm not mistaken, the CPI data. Kieran, I'm late, did I miss much? Yeah, you didn't miss anything. Just rewind, put me on ×2 and enjoy. J-Dog, I've been going in on Phantom and Gala. Good. And it's just, not financial advice, but just find your high conviction plays. People want to complicate it. It's not complicated. It really isn't. Like, we've got to find our retracement levels. That takes a little bit of technical analysis. We need to align it with the news. We can't get emotional, manage our psychology, and start building up your favorite positions. You're going to thank yourself when things run. Do you think we're closer to the bottom than we are the top? That's what you need to ask yourself. Like, what is the floor in terms, let's use Bitcoin as the gauge. Are we closer to the bottom, like if things can get really, really bad, or are we closer to the top? That's what we need to ask ourselves. When BTC up, all coins pump, but not DOT. Is that because I bought them or something else? Yeah, DOT's been lagging. This is what I'm saying, like, there's a few coins that I'm looking at today where I'm like, if they're not moving now when Bitcoin's up 9-10%, I'm a little bit worried. And DOT is one of them. I can't understand. Like, I know it's a great project, and I continue to average in, and I want to buy more because ultimately we know it's solid, but I just don't understand what's going on. Definitely something I need to spend a few hours on a bit more to do a deeper dive into what could this be. I mean, is it just falling out of favor from a marketing perspective? They fulfilled their white paper. They've had their parachains. So I'm not sure. It's pretty good. Costa Mizu, why are you so reserved about showing your portfolio, the coins and allocations, not the amount? I've pretty much explained everything about my portfolio in the altcoin portfolio vid. So apart from specific percentages, which change quite often, I'm not sure what else you're looking for. I think people who are looking for that kind of content are probably missing the point of how to invest. I don't need somebody else's portfolio for me to align mine. I need conviction in plays. That's the key. If you understand the methodology that video explains, and go watch it, if you've not watched it, it explains that this is how I structure my portfolio, then you can pretty easily figure out kind of my allocations in the plays based on what I talk about. And I keep those percentages roughly about equivalent in my favorite narratives and the plays within that narrative. So layer 1 solutions, one of my favorite layer 1 solutions, you guys know that, and I hold my plays in those. One of my favorite layer 2 solutions, what's my favorite Oracle play, what's my favorite interoperability plays, and then I build out the portfolios like that. And obviously a lot in Bitcoin as well. Yeah, DOT can't seem to get moving. It's very interesting why. I'm not sure. It's a tricky one. All I know, this is going to work out as a good buy, DOT. I mean, it's crazy. Just don't forget, we come out of this cup and handle pattern. We were setting price targets at the top of $60 here, and I fully expect us to get back up there and more. Fibonacci 1618 was sitting at 74. So great project. It's continually done well. This was just market led, but obviously now I'm not struggling to be up on a day when Bitcoin is up 9%. That is a flag and something I'm going to keep up on. DOT not moving quick enough, just like ADA. Hard to keep up when several chains that have dozens of dApps being made when you barely have a DEX. Yeah. And Jonathan, that could be part of it. It's like, so these layer one solutions are so solid right now. But at the same time, DOT and Cosmos for me are working on very important plays. And look, I know Vitalik said that, you know, we're gonna have multi-chains, but I do believe what they're working on is interesting in terms of creating like an internet of blockchains and allowing them to interact. I feel like it's going to save a lot of work going forward when if you have all your parachains on DOT. And if you're not watching it, type in YouTube my name and parachains explained. If you don't understand the DOT parachains, I do explain it in detail with a diagram and the rest of it. But when you look at those parachains, it's really powerful because let's say you've got 10 parachains already on the Polkadot ecosystem for argument's sake, and a new one comes in. As soon as that new one plugs in, it can already speak to all the other blockchains. That's so powerful and so clever that something like that, you know, it deserves a little bit of investment in case they're right. So again, they get an allocation in the portfolio for me. Sarah, can we do a video on profit-taking strategy, some general basics? Yes. I've been meaning to do that. Just need to find an interesting way of doing that for you guys in terms of profit-taking. And for me, like, just to summarize it, Sarah, but I will obviously do a video on it, is you've got to ladder your sells in. Just like how you dollar cost average in your buys, there's not a point that you get to and say, okay, I want to sell all of it at that point. You sell incrementally based on opportunity cost. So a lot of it can depend. Like if I'm sitting on a heavy profit on something like Bitcoin and I'm seeing a great opportunity like Phantom, like we did many months ago, then we go, okay, maybe I just trim a little bit of Bitcoin and put that in Phantom. Okay, so it's that kind of a mindset. Ahmed Ben Amr, it's the future of Web3. One day, Jazz, you will remember my comment. But you're preaching to the choir, right? Like, I know that's the case. I know this is the future. The Web3 is here. That's why we spend money in it. We invest in it. We talk about it. We spend our time researching it. Web 3.0 is not just here, but it's going to take over. And it reminds me of the days when people wouldn't talk about social media. Of course they are. I think he's talking about Web3, the token. Not interested in token. I'm just interested in Web3 as a whole. Guys, thank you for jumping on this live stream. Ask me any questions, or sorry if I'm lagging, guys. Jonathan just said I'm lagging. Hopefully it's not me. I'll try to sort this out. Smash up the likes on your way in. Let's see how we're doing on the old Bitcoins. Nice. I think this stream is good luck, guys. 41 to... When I was posting the video, we're just at 40,000. We were actually inflecting down. Really nice. In fact, because I've got the pro version of TradingView, which, by the way, links in the description, I get a commission if you buy TradingView, which you wouldn't need anyway. Look at this. I get the second charts. So we can watch Bitcoin move every single second if we're some like scalper. I'll just leave that there while we're talking in case it's fun. Any other question, guys? Throw your questions in the chat. For me, like if I just look at kind of, I think people really make crypto investing a bit difficult, and the key thing is what wave are we riding? We're riding in terms of altcoins. Let's keep it really simple. In altcoins, we're riding the wave of Bitcoin, and in Bitcoin, we're riding the wave of decentralized finance, money, immutability, security, all these kind of things, right? And we know that that's the narrative, which is only going to proliferate, right? Well, the examples I give of Ukraine, of Russia, of the Canadian truckers, I give you numerous: Nigeria, Pakistan, Venezuela, El Salvador. You know, in these countries, there's a real active usage of crypto. So I can fully understand how for some people it's just an investment vehicle, and that is why we're seeing it as a risk-on stock, right? At the moment, it is just risk off on stock. So the market treats it like that because in many first world countries, people don't need Bitcoin. They've got good banking systems. They trust their governments. Maybe we shouldn't after we saw what happened in Canada and the rest of it. Oh, look at this on the second chart. It's quite dramatic, isn't it, guys? Look at that. Like da-da-da-da. We should like just watch this with like music over it. Da-na-na-na. And just be like, oh man, it's gone down again. Oh man, oh man. So yeah, that's that really. Like, I'm not sure why people make it so complicated. Having the chart up with the one stream time frame would be golden for a live stream. We just keep it up on this the whole time. Aesthetic Man's dot looks like it's in an ascending channel. On what time frame? We could take a look at it. Better than the Super Bowl. We should have kept this up during the Super Bowl, guys. You guys need to give me these ideas. I'm too thick to think of them. More than happy to keep this up for you. Better than the Super Bowl. Stratos is a blockchain too. Yes, closed and reopened. It cleared everything. Oh, good stuff, Jonathan. Glad to see I'm not lagging. Aesthetic, sorry if I'm lagging, buddy. On the macro weekly. Let's take a look at the dot then on the macro weekly. Let's see what we got here. Yeah, we don't want dot in the second chart, do we, guys? That would be aggressive. Yeah, I mean, for me, just looking at this, I mean, it's similar to all the other trends, right? At the end of the day, when you look at these on a weekly, it's following the trend of Bitcoin, which is huge to the downside, well below our EMA ribbon, a lot of work to do. So things will start to get interesting for DOT above 27.29. So for me, if you're paying attention to it now, and this is something you hold in the next run-up as Bitcoin, just imagine Bitcoin's running up to 100,000. Do you want DOT in your team? Do you want it in your portfolio? And if the answer is yes, then you can't argue that these aren't good points to be picking them up at, right? You can see the progress is made, DOT, and you're buying at prices that takes you back to July 21, right? So summer last year. And we know that since then, huge progress with their parachains and their auctions and loads of interest, good marketing. So yeah, definitely. Right, sounds like we're lagging too much, guys. So I'm going to have to cut this off here. Make sure you watch the Bitcoin video. Make sure you watch the Phantom video that's going to come up later today. Let me know in Discord if there's anything we can do to improve these live streams. Obviously, the lag. I'll need to figure out what's causing that. But in terms of news, do you want us to cover news? Do you want to see chart patterns? Do you just want to answer questions? Let me know and we can improve these going forward. As always, guys, smash up likes. I'll see you in the next one.